Russia has slammed America, the UK and France over strikes on Syria, calling their actions a violation of the UN Charter. President Putin has issued a statement on the attack, and for more on that, we're now joined by Igor Zhdanov in the studio. Igor, thanks for coming in. What more can you tell us about what President Putin has said in response to these strikes?
Well, basically, he condemned in the strongest terms possible the military action taken by the US, the UK and France. He said that this group of allies chose to target not just the military facilities but the civilian as well, saying that they basically by this they have violated all international norms. And as pretext for those strikes, Vladimir Putin has said they chose they chose a staged chemical attack. He stressed that he does not believe that the chemical attack happened in Duma because the Russian military entered the city right after the allegations and couldn't find any evidence of any nerve or toxic agent being used there, and in fact they couldn't find any witnesses to the events described by those making the accusation. Have a listen as to how Vladimir Putin addressed the situation in full.
The Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons has deployed its specialists on a fact-finding mission. But a group of Western countries cynically ignored this, launching a military attack without waiting for the results of the investigation. Russia emphatically condemns this attack on Syria, where Russian servicemen are helping the legitimate government fight terrorists. With its actions, the United States only exacerbates the humanitarian disaster in Syria, bringing suffering to civilians, essentially abetting terrorists who have been tormenting the Syrian people for 7 years, and provoking a new wave of refugees from this country and the region in general.
The Russian president also touched upon the OPCW investigation in that statement. There are fears that this latest military action could interfere with the watchdog's probe, isn't there? Tell us more.
Well, yes, indeed, because these strikes were launched literally hours before the official OPCW, a UN-backed chemical body, investigation was supposed to kick off on site in Damascus. And so now the biggest question is how, if in any way, of course, these strikes affected the investigation on the ground, because were the facilities that the investigators intended to search, to look into, were they bombed? Have they been damaged? Have they been completely destroyed? Or has the investigation been, or has the strikes, maybe the strikes did not hamper the investigation at all? So this is the big question that lies in front of the international community right now.
And we have reached out to the OPCW, haven't we, for a comment on whether these strikes will inhibit or affect their investigation in any way. When we do hear from them, we will be bringing our viewers that latest information. All eyes are, of course, on...
All right, I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Ba'Hashem Yahushai, Ba'Hashem Bracha Kodash. As you brothers already know, America dropped bombs on Syria, the king of Babylon, as the scriptures call him, Donald Trump. You know, he finally dropped bombs in Syria, and this was hours before the chemical essay was supposed to be presented to show them that there were no chemical strikes or whatever the case was. You know, they didn't have anything of that nature, and that whole thing about that they bombed them because of the chemical strike that they did upon their own people was a bunch of lies. The people that were there, they were just getting sprayed with cold water. The kids were crying because of the cold water. And there was an actual guy in there that witnessed it. And he said none of them people showed any signs of chemical poisoning. You know, it was just, they were just spraying people down just for the camera. So it was pretty much a false flag to allow America to drop those bombs. America, UK, and France, you know. So right now, what Putin is doing, he's pretty much sitting back, calculating everything and making certain judgments, which is the Lord working on his mind, which is a part of what the scriptures say. Before I go there, let's go to Joel 3:9, and this is also the Lord stirring up the pot, you know, and the angels stirring up those pots, working on the minds of those kings over there in the Middle East to get ready for this war. Joel 3:9, proclaim ye this among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men of war draw near, let them come up. So the scriptures say to wake up the mighty men. All right, now when you come down here to wake up, the word there is I war. It says to rouse oneself, awake, awaken, incite, to rouse oneself, awake, to be roused, to stir up, rouse, incite, to be excited, be triumphant, to rouse, stir up, to act in an aroused manner, awake. And pretty much, for the most part, most of these nations, they keep to themselves, you know, and if there's any battles fought, it's usually amongst themselves. And when it comes to dealing with other nations, they usually keep to themselves. But America's the one that goes in there to stir the pot. You know what happens when you go into a hornet's nest. You go fuck, the hornet ain't gonna fuck with you if you just minding your business. But if you go stabbing at its nest or messing with its nest or coming too close, they're gonna sting you. And this is what's happening. You know, America is the one that's the cause of this. So the Lord is rousing these people up, using America to rouse them up. See, here it's I war. This comes from the root word I war, 5785, through the idea of opening the eyes. You know, because what normally brings war is a people protecting their people from outside invasions, whether it be from the outside or from the inside. You know, and that's what's causing this, an outside invasion of America, because they want to get in that land, Syria, because they want to surround Iran and have easy access to strike Iran from a close distance. That's why they're into Syria, trying to get up in there and get a foothold in there and to exploit whatever resources they have in that country. But they fucking with the wrong one, son. You know, because Russia got their eye on Syria, and as you can see, Putin pretty much he condemned those attacks, right? And from what I understand, the Syrian army they intercepted 71 of those 100, I believe it was 103 missiles or 100 missiles, something like that. It said that they intercepted like 71 of them. You know, to show you that these devils, they shit is weak, man. Ezekiel 38:10. Thus saith the Lord power, it shall also come to pass that at the same time shall things come into thy mind. This is dealing with Gog, Magog, which right now the king of Gog is Putin. You know, so evil things are going to come into thy mind, and thou shalt think an evil thought. All right. So now I wanted to look up the one right here, and thou shalt think. It comes from the Hebrew word chashab, right? It says to think, plan, esteem, calculate, invent, make a judgment, imagine, count. So right now, Putin is taking account and calculating everything before he makes a strike, because see, these foreign nations, they're more calculated in their decisions than this devil Trump. Because this devil Trump, he'll just do shit without even thinking about it. But at the same time, he was given carte blanche, I looked that word up, to do this by the international bankers. And that's why they put him in there. Because one of the final things that they want is they want this third world war, you know, to finally bring the solution to end all wars, which is what? Their new world order. But they don't understand that this third world war, third world's war that they fermented is the plans of the Most High to destroy and devastate them. You know, because from, I believe it was something of the hierarchy, something like that. This book that this woman wrote, I forget this exact name. I know Apostle Tar and Apostle Gabar know about it. And other brothers, I'm sure they know the name of the book. But in that book, it was said that those missiles were pretty much set up just to scare people into accepting this new world order. But the Most High is going to make them use it. So right now, Trump is calculating, you know, an evil thought, you know, because it's the Most High working on the minds of these kings to do that. No, it says, and thou shalt say, I will go up to the land of unwalled villages, which is America. I will go to them that are at rest, that dwell safely, all of them dwelling without walls and having neither bars nor gates. So the Lord is going to cause Putin and China and other nations and even their own allies of America that are helping them during this strike to come against America. Okay, because UK and France are part of those 10 horns, and they're gonna come against America. All right. All right. So now let's jump here. Jeremiah 50:22. A sound of battle is in the land, and of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? And this is the final devastation, the final destruction. But the first part of that destruction is them losing their power. Their military might and their strategies are outdated, you know. And they're in a world that these nations, all they do is eat, drink, and think strategies and war and all of that, you know. So your old tactics is not working anymore, and eventually you're gonna be destroyed, you know. But right now you're losing your grip, you're losing your power, and you're trying to hold on to it. Let's see what it says here. Hammer is patayash, forge, hammer. Another way of saying hammer is makobath. Hammer of the whole earth, cut asunder. Let's see what that says. Cut asunder. Gadai, to cut, hew, chop, cut down, hew off, cut off, cut in two, shave off. So right now, America is getting a shave. A shave from power. All right. Become a desolation among them, and eventually they're going to be led as a snare. They're going to be pretty much destroyed. They're going to be desolate. It says, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. And it's time for you to pay, because you have puffed yourself up. You know, you have even made slogans for your military, said that nothing can stop the Air Force, implying that not even God can stop the Air Force, the Most High. The Lord has opened his armory and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation, which is what? These missiles. For this is the work of the Lord power of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans. And America is the modern day land of the Chaldeans. Come against her from the utmost border. And what's the utmost border? Russia and over there and on the other side of the world. Open her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. So eventually America is going to be totally destroyed and wiped out. And before all this can happen, the microchip has to be made mandatory throughout the world, pretty much. All right, so keep your eyes open. We're at the very end, 2018, the year of prophecy, as Apostle Tahar had coined. You know, things are happening. They're happening fast. We're in the 4th month of 2018, and all kind of stuff is going on around the world. So just keep your eyes peeled and keep a steady watch. So with that, I hope you brothers have been edified. Till the next time I say shalom.
Shalom. I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'asham, Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham, Rokah, Kadash. Double honors to our elders who rule Great Millstone well, and shalom to all you Akim pushing this truth with sincerity. May you endure into the end. Shalom. Now they just strike Trump. April 13th, 2018. Trump ordered the missiles to be fired at Syria to attack precision targets. They said that he did attack the capital city of Damascus, and they said that they doubled the number, or so they increased the number of missiles from last year, April 13th, 2017, when they attacked with 59 missiles. But Russia responds and says, the Russian ambassador to the United States, Antonov, said it was not acceptable to insult Russia's president. Russia has responded to the Syrian airstrikes and chilling vowed there will be consequences for the U.S.-led attacks. Russia's ambassador to the United States said the bombings were an insult Russia's president and not acceptable. So there are going to be consequences. And I tried to find this article I found when I was at work, but I couldn't find it again. But it said that he already pre-showed where he was going to strike. And if you saw this video, they actually show where they're going to hit. So I'm going to replay it so you can see, because they actually show hitting Florida. And that makes a lot of sense if they were to hit Florida, because Florida is segregated from the rest of the country. It would damage Florida, but you would still have the mainland. So that would make sense why they would damage Florida, where it would be a warning shot to injure, but not so much to destroy. So those are multiple nuclear warheads that they shoot out into space, and then it comes down. And it showed right there into Florida. Okay? And that's why I'm going to get this scripture real quick. Give me 1 second. There we go. Shalakias. But I'm just going to get the scripture showing that what was will be done over and over again. If you watch what Esau's done, they're going to do it all over again. What they just showed, they showed you that because that's what they're going to do. Right? This is Ecclesiastes chapter 3 verse 1. To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under the heaven. A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted. A time to kill, and a time to heal. A time to break down, and a time to build up. A time to weep, and a time to laugh. A time to mourn, and a time to dance. A time to cast away stones, and a time to gather stones together. A time to embrace, and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to get, and a time to lose. A time to keep, and a time to cast away. A time to rend, and a time to sow. A time to keep silence, a time to speak. A time to love, a time to hate. A time of war, a time of peace. What profit hath he that worketh in that wherein he laboreth? Because right now, all the work that everybody's doing is actually in vain, unless you're doing the work for Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because everything is about to be vaporized real soon. Honestly, from this attack, it probably ain't going to be real major, but there's going to be consequences that are going to lead us into World War III, where eventually we're going to go into nuclear war. It says, I'm going to jump down to the point though, which is 15. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be had already been. So they're showing you this was already already designed, thought up. It cost a lot of money to produce this material. They don't just show you for nothing. And also, if you think of it through war strategy, that'd be like a leg wound to your enemy, where you shoot his leg out, his knee. You took him out, you cripple him, but you don't just actually kill him. He's still useful, a useful idiot. But then that will just cause another strike back, and it will lead to nuclear war. I'm going to read 15 again. That which hath been is now, and that which is to be hath already been. And Yahweh Shem Yahushai requireth that which is past. Just like when you speak something and it comes right to your face. That's why they tell you watch what you say or watch what you wish for. This is coming. It's here. They're telling you their wants. They have a reason to do it. In fact, Trump couldn't back out once he said it. Putin is a KGB. They can't. They're too hard-headed Edomites, and we're going into World War III. But that's a good thing. That's a very good thing, and that's why we praise. We give all praise and glory to Yahweh Ba'Sham Yahweh Shai, and we tell you, brothers, to endure with long suffering, and be patient, and be fearful of Yahweh Ba'Sham Yahweh Shai. Be more afraid of who sent the missiles instead of the missile itself, because Yahweh Ba'Sham Yahweh Shai will deliver you from those missiles, just like the lion that he sent to visit Samson. He also gave Samson the power to overcome that lion and have victory. So make sure you brothers say your prayers and repent as you have time, and shalom.
We going on the fucking damn it, man. What the fuck? Is there nobody fucking pure in this goddamn fucking world? See, now I'm fucking pissed right now. Syria fought Al-Qaeda, they fought ISIS, they fought it all. And now you got Mattis and fucking all these people shitting all over us. And the goddamn fucking liberal fascists censoring us everywhere the last 2 days. We did an emergency fucking 36-hour broadcast trying to stop this shit that could lead to World War III. And you fucking liberal pieces of fucking shit, you fucking assholes, fucking support this. Fuck you. You fucking goddamn degenerate fucks. And fucking Mueller and fucking Comey and fuck you. Every major analyst, see, I shouldn't even be on there right now. Every analyst agrees that this could trigger World War III unlike anything in our history. And the Russians were the good guys battling ISIS and Al-Qaeda. I'm not a Russophile. I've never been to Russia. But I've studied the geopolitics. They are the white knights. And our military 5 years ago joining the Russians to block Obama and the Arab Spring and do the right thing, did the right thing. And now, Mattis looks like a fucking Emperor Palpatine. When that cocksucker knows full fucking well that Al-Qaeda and ISIS staged all those fucking chemical attacks. And now they're blaming it on the goddamn motherfucking... I shouldn't be on there right now. When the fuck are we going live? I can't do this shit anymore.
Ready to go live?
Fuck Trump and fuck these fucking people. At a certain point, man, I'm sick of all you fucking liberals and mainlanders. You're a bunch of cowardly fucks. You're not Americans. What's going on?
Hey, we're ready to go live.
Okay.
Hey.
Should we shut these feeds down and delete those? And I'm going to try to control myself.
Yes.
Dude, just shut those feeds down and restart them, okay?
Commentator Mr. Fred Weir, who's joining us from the Russian capital Moscow to give us his perspective on the events that have led to the attacks on Syria. Mr. Weir?
Well, absolutely everything about this is a little bit surreal, even, bizarre. I mean, even the report you just had from the correspondent in Damascus who said their Syrians are taking it in a festive mood, because it is like almost a huge theater production. It's clearly limited, which we can all breathe a sigh of relief about. The designation of 3 sites as chemical warfare sites, I'm sure, is absolutely arbitrary. I don't know if all your viewers remember in 1998, 20 years ago, Bill Clinton, having domestic problems, serious problems with his presidency, decided to fire off a lot of cruise missiles at Sudan, hit a pharmaceutical factory, as it later turned out, which he claimed was an Al-Qaeda VX gas manufacturing site. This is what especially American presidents do, especially when they're deep in their own domestic troubles. They have a glorious little war. And it works. Unfortunately, the American public like this sort of thing, especially if it's done with complete impunity and is over quickly. And I believe this is what has happened. It is just a murderous piece of theater, but let's hope will not expand and become like World War III, because the danger was there. I see from the Russian media, I just glanced at it, they're saying that the airstrikes steered very clear of Russian air defense centers. So the Russians, I think, will not be drawn in. If this thing is ending, if that's it, the 3 sites, then that's what we have. We have this theater production on a weekend, good television, and no changes of any kind to the situation on the ground in Syria.
So what you're saying is you're not anticipating a harsh response from Russia?
No, I think I think that the Russians and Americans on a military level did talk about this, and the Russians, I hope you understand, don't want World War III. They made some threats, and of course, if Russians had been hit, they would have had to respond. But what they have to live in the Trump world. Donald Trump is going to do these things, and we hope we can get through all this without the world being destroyed in the process. So I think the Russians have reconciled themselves to the fact that the Americans and French and British will have their little, bombardment. They will declare that they have stood up to what was it Trump said? Barbarism and some other awful thing. And then we will get back to the business of trying to sort this situation out in the Middle East. I hope that's it. And if the strikes were a one-off, then the Russian media has already declared that they were bypassed, not involved. And I think that's it, yes.
Let's bring in journalist at Al Masdar News Agency, Mr. Brecht Yonkers, joining us from Brussels. Mr. Yonkers, welcome to the program. Our guest in Moscow had an opinion on the issue, stating that probably the Russians will not be responding in kind at this point. What are your thoughts on how events will transpire from now on?
It is my belief that indeed, as the previous speaker said, that basically the war, the liberation of Syria from terrorist groups will continue as planned. Our sources, our Al Masdar news sources, indicate that there are already military operations proceeding by the Syrian army against terrorist movements, so to say, proceeding as if nothing happened. Of course, the Syrian army has to take into account the fact that there is the threat of American, British, and French imperialist intervention, in this case, of course, through general bombings by the guided missiles. But despite all that, Syria and Russia and their allies are continuing to liberate the nation. Now, after Eastern Ghouta has been liberated, there are indications that the front line is moving more to the south, to the areas south of Damascus, which have not been liberated yet, and perhaps later on towards the areas around Dara. So it is my sincere hope that indeed the strikes by the imperialist powers will be limited to this, and that Syria and Russia and all the allies of a truly independent and sovereign Syrian Arab Republic will be able to move their attention back to liberating the country. Of course, this is a massive shock. It was also a massive shock to me, I must honestly say, that indeed the Americans and their cronies will stoop so low as to unleash such a massive rain of death upon Syria, and especially how they dare to masquerade this in a lie which is so obviously wrong, so obviously made up, and makes me think of 2003 made up reasons when they went to war against Iraq. But despite all that, of course, the war has to continue, the liberation of Syria has to continue. So I think it's important to send a message to the United States, to France, and to Great Britain that no matter how much you try, you cannot stop the liberation of Syria from occurring.
And Mr. Yonkers, we have to consider the international warnings leading up to the strike and the announcement by U.S. President Donald Trump. The United States, during times like this, has a habit of just muting the volume of the entire world. Is it concerning and is it worrying how the U.S. and its allies can just totally ignore any form of international warnings and condemnations, and they can just act as they please?
Absolutely. I think that's actually one of the major problems that we face in the world today, and that is that what they call the unipolar world that we had since the fall of the Eastern Bloc, the fall of the Soviet Union. And especially since the United States is becoming more and more aggressive, since that their unipolar domination is being threatened. So nowadays, many analysts say we live in a multipolar world in which nations such as Russia, China, and Iran, together with like India and Brazil, and so they are taking their rightful place in the world alongside the old powers. But of course, these old powers, being the United States and Europe, they are not that easily swayed, let's say, to give up their imperialist domination. So it is indeed very discouraging, I must say, even when here in Europe, when I hear these discussions about whether or not President Bashar al-Assad is behind chemical weapons attacks, but nobody is asking themselves the question, even if it were true, which there is no evidence for, even if these chemical attacks were true, why would that even concern the United States or Britain or France? Why is that why is that their responsibility to solve, or their responsibility to punish Bashar al-Assad for all these alleged crimes? This is not something that the United States has the right to, or France or Britain. This would be a United Nations matter. This would be a matter for the Organization for Prohibition of Chemical Weapons. And the very ironic thing is that the UN and Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons observers and scientists are in Duma. They are doing their job, yet however they do not even get the necessary time to settle all these disputes, to find out what really happened, because the United States has brushed them aside and has said it doesn't matter what the facts are. I will say, Trump basically said, I will say what the facts are. In my opinion, the facts are this, and in my opinion, that gives us the right, the Western powers, the right to militarily intervene. So it is very important indeed that the Russians have and the Iranians have responded very, very loudly, very defensively, and have said, this cannot go without any further punishment. And if you continue, we will have to strike back, because otherwise you will get a continuation of what has been happening in the world since 1945, being that the Western powers play world police, that their feelings of superiority take over basically any form of rational thought, and will result in a massive amount of bloodshed, which basically caters in a Western, specifically American strategy to bring the entire world under their boot heel.
Let's go back to our guest, Mr. Fred Weir in Moscow. Mr. Weir, there were hints that maybe this issue with Syria was losing its intensity over the past few days following the Twitter quips that went back and forth with Russia and the United States. Then came the meeting with the National Security Team, which, if I'm correct, took place on Thursday. How much of this response had to do with the likes of John Bolton serving as an advisor to U.S. President Donald Trump?
Well, yes, I think that people Trump has surrounded himself with are absolutely gung-ho warmongers. I hate to use that old phrase, but that's what these guys are. They have people like Bolton and the coming Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, are just hawks of the deepest variety. So. But as your previous guest said, and I think it needs to be reiterated, this takes a Trumpian form, but this has been going on for a long time. This is exactly the sort of thing that the arbitrary strikes, attacks on countries that don't toe the line or displease the United States and its allies. This is an old story, and the difference here is that Syria, against all odds, is winning its civil war with help from Iran and Russia, and the Russians are there. As I said, the Americans clearly took great pains to avoid any Russian area, any place where Russians were in force in their airstrikes. And the Russians, of course, they'll be obliged if their people are hit, or if this goes on and starts erasing the achievements, the gains that Syria and its allies have made in the past couple of years. I think the Russians would be forced to respond, but they will do that with great reluctance, because the United States and Russia are nuclear armed countries. For 40 years of the Cold War, they avoided the ultimate war because wiser heads were in charge, and they had an infrastructure of communications and understandings, some tacit, overt, and we got through the Cold War. I'm one of those who can remember being relieved and thinking that was a thing of the past. But here it is again. The Russians are trying to manage that. I think they are, it's strange to say, they are the adults in the room here. But what you're dealing with is a number of domestic issues in the United States and in Britain too. You've got leaders who are in serious political trouble. At home, they have real problems, and in the manner of almost caricatured comic book leaders, they are using manufactured war to try to distract public attention from those problems. This is what's going on. It's sad, it's farcical, except that people are dying, so it's not funny at all. But this is what the world has come to.
Still around with the windows down, whipping on these niggas. I'm a we on high ground, can't see many niggas watching smoking with the windows down. Just like this nigga straight to the because I'm sipping crown. I'm in the Riga with the tags that's from out of state. I've been booming since.
Hey, Shalom Makiam, Shalom. First off, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash. I want to send double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Those are the apostles and elders that are up in New York, man. They came out, they've been preaching this word for a few decades now, and this word has been going out, man. So double honors to them, as the scriptures say. I want to send peace and salutations and love to all the Akim out there pushing the word in sincerity and truth, the true doctrine of Yahweh Shai. For those men, man. Love y'all brothers. This is the brother Ariala. This is a quick update. As you saw, man, it's going down in some type of way over in Syria, where the United States, on Friday the 13th, Friday the 13th of 2018, they went ahead and shot over 100 Tomahawk missiles. The UK and France shot missiles on different sites in Damascus, man, just outside of Damascus, at so-called chemical plants that they believe were being used by Assad to create chemical weapons. Now, we all know this is a front. Brothers have been going over this for a number of years now. That really is just all to complete prophecy, but the lies and the deception that the West uses in order to justify their wickedness, it has no bounds. What I want to talk about is the strike itself and the implications of it as far as prophecy concerning the book of Ezekiel 38, where the scripture says that Gog and Magog is going to be a guard unto these nations, and basically they're going to be the leading faction against the United States, the West, the Babylon the Great. Okay, this beast system. Now, when you look at military might and strength, United States, when the scriptures talk about who shall make war with him, who's going to be able to make war with this beast, we pull this in the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter and the 4th verse. The scripture says, and they worship the dragon which gave power unto the beast. This is that old Roman system, this is that renewed, revived Roman system of America. And we can go, tit for tat into all the political, economic, social ways that this is that new Rome all over again. But when you read here, it says that they worship the dragon which gave power unto the beast, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him. Now, when you look at the United States, along with the UK, along with France, this whole NATO, united system, people say, man, who can make war with them, man? And when you look at just Babylon the Great by itself, when you look at America by itself, they have immense military strength. Now, for the sake of the conversation, I want to go into this website. It's called globalfirepower.com. It says comparison results of world military strengths. And right now I have the United States versus Russia pulled up. And their rank is 1 and 2. Just a quick note. Look at the defense budget. You got 647 billion versus 47 billion. But look at the debt rate. Look at the debt. It's crazy. I wanted to just hinge on the air because you got the U.S. is known as, it is also called the eagle in the scriptures, man. That's always been the emblem of Rome. That's the emblem of the United States, proof that this is Rome. And the eagle is known for its ability to strike from ridiculously high and distant altitudes, man. The eagle is known for its good sight, its keen sight, and its ability to fly over the top of all the other birds. Now, America, in like fashion, has the #1 air force in the planet. And look at just total aircraft. Total aircraft, you got 13,362 for the United States and 3,914 with Russia. You know what I'm saying? With the fighters, interceptors, look at that, 1962 versus 818. Attack aircraft, 2,800 versus 1,400. As far as transports, look at helicopters. Attack helicopters. So the U.S. has a keen airstrike capabilities, whether it be from their Navy cruise missiles that's coming off their ships or actual airplanes firing in missiles from long range, man. So over the decades, Russia has been developing air defense systems. They've been bolstering up their ability to stop that eagle, man. So they have systems called the S-400 systems, the S-300 systems, and they now have in development what's called the S-500 systems. And they have given these air defense systems to their allies. They got contracts to give it to Saudi Arabia, to Turkey, but chiefly Syria, Iran, China. They have these systems to prevent such devastating air attack from the United States. And these airstrikes that went on yesterday, on Friday the 13th, was a good example of the capability. Because Russia is the bear now. They got the land attack. Look at this tank strength, 5,800 from the U.S. But look how many tanks. Look how many tanks Russia got, man. Now the U.S. makes of it with armored fighting vehicles, nonetheless. But you still got a bigger number here. They have the ground game, so to speak. So you got Russia as the bear and the U.S. as the eagle, and we're gonna see how they're gonna come together. Now, this is what the scripture says. This is what I want to hear in Jeremiah 49 and 15. It says, "For lo, I will make thee small amongst the heathen." All right, we'll start at 14. I have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent unto the heathen, saying, Gather ye together and come against her, and rise up to the battle. For lo, I will make thee small among the heathen, and despised among men. Thy terribleness have deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart. O thou dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Okay, Caucasians. That's what the word Caucasian means, cave dweller. Alright, it says, that holdest the height of the hill, though thou shouldest make thy nest as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord. Also Edom shall be a desolation. Every one that goeth by it shall be astonished, and shall hiss at all the plagues thereof. And who is Edom? Edom is you so-called white people. You modern day, you average Joe Blow, in general, you so-called white people are the Edomites, man. Okay? And you exalt yourself as the eagle, but the Most High is going to set a course of actions for you to be brought down, okay? Now, skipping ahead over to Ezekiel, the 38th chapter, when you get to the 7th verse, it says, "Be thou prepared and prepare thyself." When we've read this scripture so many times. We know we're talking about Gog and Magog and the host of nations that's going to be allied with him. We talk about Iran all the time, okay? And we mention Turkey, and then we talk about how even might have Germany, Spain, and these other European nations switch and go over through the Spirit. We know that's going to happen, okay? France, them too. Watch this. It's in verse 7. It says, "Be thou prepared and prepare for thyself, thou and all thy company that are assembled unto thee, and be thou a guard unto them." Okay? And you look this word guard here in the Hebrew. The word here is mashamar, meaning to watch, man. To be on your guard, to be on your watch. And Russia has these S-300 and S-400 systems to be a guard unto all these nations, man, against this eagle, man, against these air attacks and these missiles attacks from the West, from the United States, man. Now, when you read I've got a few articles here to show you what I mean. This right here is from today on Zero Hedge. It says Syria claims it intercepted 71 out of 103 cruise missiles. Pentagon denies it. It says, as U.S. politicians and foreign leaders from Israel to Canada applauded the U.S.-led strikes in Syria, reports emerged Saturday that the attack was far less effective than the Pentagon has claimed, because you can also read articles talking about mission accomplished. Because here's another article right here. It says, "We successfully hit every target." Highlights from Pentagon press briefing on Syria airstrikes. It says, on Saturday morning, Pentagon spokesman Dana White and Marine Lieutenant General Kenneth McKenzie held a press conference updating the public on the key overnight developments in Syria. Here are the highlights. It says, White said the operation does not represent a change in U.S. policy or an attempt to dispose the Syrian regime. It says, "We took action, and what happens next is the decision of Assad. We successfully hit every target. Last night's strikes were precise, overwhelming, and effective. The strike overwhelmed the Syrian air defense system." This is what the United States is claiming, man. But as we know, man, as you read in the book of Isaiah, that this man's skirt is being lifted up. He's being exposed as a fraud, man. His terribleness has deceived him. Okay? His terribleness has deceived him, man. And the pride in his heart is going to fail, man. Because apparently when you read this article, it says the U.S. target list included the following. You know what? Let me start up. It says, according to the Russian Defense Ministry, most of the missiles launched by the U.S., UK, and France have been intercepted by Syria's air defenses, employing Soviet-made S-125 and S-200 air defense systems. And see, these ain't even the best systems, man. Those are like the backup systems, man. Mobile, you can move them around the city how you need to. Okay, it says Syria reportedly shot down 71 of the 103 cruise missiles. These included 12 cruise missiles which had been headed towards the Damir military airfield, which was completely spared thanks to the Syrian counterstrike. It says the U.S. target list included the following. 4 missiles were launched targeting the area of Damascus International Airport. All these missiles were intercepted. 12 missiles were launched targeting the Al-Damir military airport. All these missiles were intercepted. You see how Russia, when they come out with information, is way more detailed? The U.S. be like, yeah, we hit them niggas, man. Yeah, we won. Yeah, y'all got chemical weapons. Don't show no evidence. Don't bring out and Esau love paperwork. What a paperwork? But Russia giving you the list of what's going down. He said 18 missiles was launched targeting the Belay military airport. All these missiles were intercepted. 12 were launched at the Shariarat military airport. All of those was intercepted. 9 were launched at the Meza military airport. 5 of them were intercepted. So 4 got through. 16 were launched targeting Homs military airports. 13 were intercepted, so 3 of those got through. Okay, and then it says 30 missiles were launched targeting targets in the area of Barzar and Jeremani. 7 missiles were intercepted, so they really didn't have the systems over there to protect this area, and 23 missiles had got through over there. And it seems like they didn't hit none of the airports, so this was kind of just like an offshoot section that got hit. They was mainly trying to protect the airports and the heavy, equipment product they have there. It says a spokesman for the Russian general staff confirmed that no Russian defense systems were used to repel the attack. So, adding that Russia had declined to supply Syria with more advanced weapons, a decision it said it would reconsider. Okay, you see that? So they got more advanced systems, and now they making Russia want to be a heavier guard unto them. Okay, it says the Syrian air defense system has been conducting an anti-air fight, a spokesperson of the Russian Ministry of Defense said. Furthermore, it confirmed that the Syrian military repelled the attack using weapons manufactured in the USSR more than 30 years ago. The MOD added that while the facilities in the area of Barzah and Jeremani were partially destroyed, these facilities had been for a long time abandoned and had not been involved in production of chemical weapons, in contrary to the claims of the U.S.-led coalition. All right. So after this all happened, they said, the U.S. is doing backflips, talking about what they doing, da 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 da. Meanwhile, Bashar al-Assad and them, they trying to show and prove that, look, we good over here. We good over here.
Hours after the US, Britain and France launched strikes against Syria, the Syrian presidency published a video showing President Bashar al-Assad arriving at work.
See shit, Bashar, he rolling and strolling in. Look at him, man. Look, he shit. Like, walk it like I talk. Walk it like I talk. Walk it like I talk. Walk it like I talk.
Gathered along the streets of Damascus.
They chilling, bro. So there's got to be the U.S. is going to have to come harder. Basically, this is like, hey, y'all going to have to come harder, man. Y'all ain't going hard enough yet. All right. And so these are baby steps. Now, we talked about how previously you haven't seen such powerful nations come head up. The U.S. is used to being able to shoot Tomahawk missiles on Iraq, Tomahawk missiles on Afghanistan, going into these little podunk areas and using their advanced technology to just basically run over the place, man. Well, now you going against bigger nations that are more advanced. So this is why we understand we are creeping into a world war.
It's known as the Tomahawk missile, the workhorse long-range cruise missile in the U.S. arsenal. The Tomahawk has a range of about 1,600 kilometers and can be launched from a ship or a submarine. It typically carries a 450-kilo bomb or 166 smaller bombs. The results can be devastating. The Tomahawk entered service in 1991 during the first U.S. war in Iraq. Since then, it has been used more than 2,000 times in combat. The Tomahawk uses GPS and what's known as TERCOM, terrain contour mapping. It uses that to track its target. It can fly very low under enemy radar and can be rerouted mid-flight to a new target. To thwart the Tomahawk, the Russian military may turn to the S-400 Triumph, a truck-based surface-to-air missile system designed to take down airplanes, ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, and drones. S-400s were deployed to Syria after Turkey shot down a Russian fighter in 2015. The system has a range of about 400 kilometers. Several vehicles make up the S-400 system. The long-range surveillance radar can track hundreds of potential targets at once. A separate radar vehicle hones in on the individual target, and then the launch vehicle launches a small missile in the air at the incoming airplane or cruise missile. If Russia takes steps to stop potential future missile attacks in Syria, it's unlikely to stop every incoming Tomahawk, but it has the technology to at least slow a U.S. assault. Jim Spellman, CGTN, Washington.
You know what I'm saying? We are creeping into where these nations are going to have to start really coming at each other in order to truly make influence, because economically it's going down. All right. Now, this is another article. It says people are dancing in the streets. Syria, Russia, Iran shrug off Trump's airstrikes. It says, sure, over 100 cruise missiles were fired on Saturday morning local time at 3 mostly empty military installations, including 1 research and 2 storage facilities, in airstrikes that last no more than 70 minutes. It says Syrian air defenses may or may not have intercepted many, if not a majority. It says may or may not have intercepted many, if not a majority of the launched missiles. And Trump got to wave his mission accomplished flag on Twitter. But did anything change? Hell no, man. The spirit is still going to have this place just continue on and doing what it's got to do. Okay? Meanwhile, in the capital Damascus, there was defiance and relief as residents jolted awake by explosions around 4 a.m. realized the strikes will be limited. Syrian state television broadcast scenes of citizens taken to the streets to celebrate and demonstrate their support for Syrian President Bashar al-Assad, waving Syrian, Russian, and Iranian flags. So these nations ain't done, man. That ain't nothing but a flare-up, man. And it's going to continue going. Okay? Look at this. It says, this strike is only muscle flexing by Trump to show his power. She said, Assad's regime is much stronger now. We tell Trump, you can do nothing. Here we are celebrating to show that you are bankrupt, said a jubilant woman interview on state television. Okay? So, hey, man, that was just things getting started. These nations are rising up. These nations are really, really putting it together. Okay, I'm going to read this one article and get out of here. You know, I just wanted to make this point that, you know, this is a way that Russia has been a guard unto these nations by putting these anti-missile defense systems to protect their borders, man. Because back in the day, man, once Israel had got those aircrafts from United States, that aircraft was able to run through Egypt, do whatever they want to do, man. But now these nations have to, you know, they got to be smarter about how they move, because a direct confrontation can cause huge collateral damage on either side, man. You know, you got 2 apex predators in the jungle. They have to be mindful of how they engage each other, man, because taking a certain type of wound in the jungle could lead to your death. You can't just bump fly. It could be mortal wounds you sustain even though you take a W, you know? Now, this is on the national interest called the section called The Buzz. It says Russia's S-400 is a game changer in the Middle East and America should worry. Saudi Arabia's agreement to purchase the S-400 anti-aircraft Triumph anti-missile system from Russia is a major blow to the United States and its European allies. The deal follows Turkey's $2.5 billion agreement to buy the S-400 and ongoing negotiations with Egypt for the S-400. Egypt already has the S-300 system, which can engage short and intermediate range ballistic missiles, cruise missiles, precision guided weapons, strategic and tactical aircraft, as well as early warning and electronic warfare aircraft. Okay? It says among other countries with the S-300 system are Greece, a NATO ally who got them from Cyprus when the Turks threatened Cyprus with war unless the country gave up its missiles. Thus, they were given to Greece to defuse a crisis with Turkey. There are other users of these systems. There is China, of course, also India, Ukraine, Venezuela, and NATO members Bulgaria, to name a few. But the S-400 is the real game changer. The reason is the multiple intercept missiles the S-400 system can fire. The S-400 supports 4 different missiles. The very long range 40 NSE series, okay, which can go 400 kilometers. The long range, the 48 and N6, 250 kilometers, and the M9M6E2. And short range 6E. By comparison, the U.S. Patriot system supports only one interceptor missile with a range of 96 kilometers. God damn. See how much more the S-400 outperforms? Because the U.S. is planning on being on the attack, not the defense. That's that pride. It says, but there is more. The 9M96E2 is one of the jewels of the S-400 system. It flies at Mach 15, around 5,000 meters per second, or 18,500 kilometers per hour. It says it can engage targets as low as 5 meters off the ground, and it can maneuver pulling up to 20 Gs. It says a human can withstand no more than 9 Gs with special pressure suits and helmets for only a few seconds. So it can maneuver pulling up to 20 Gs. It is designed to knock out penetrating aircraft and missiles flying off the deck, or just move above ground and neutralize cruise missiles. It says Dr. Carlo Chop, one of the world's top aerospace experts, says the S-400 has optional acquisition radars designed to defeat modern stealth aircrafts such as the F-22 and the F-35. They work by operating multiple frequency bands, including both VHF and L bands that can see stealth projected fighters. Okay? And so if you want to get more nerdy and read about all these systems, you can, but I'm going to skip down. It says the S-400 also has capability against ballistic missiles, a feature that surely attracted Saudi Arabia's interest. How good is it against ballistic missiles? No one knows for sure. The Saudi decision to buy the S-400 is probably linked to Egypt's earlier purchase of the S-300 VM and desire to get the S-400. Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states probably paid for Egypt's weapons. The Russians have definitely made a breakthrough with sales of weapons to some NATO countries with uncertain futures in the bloc, i.e. Greece and Turkey. And strong, and we already know from the scriptures that Greece and Turkey is going to come against this place, man. The prophecies are going to come true, and we're seeing it line up. And strong U.S. client countries such as Saudi Arabia and other Gulf states such as the United Arab Emirates. One immediate new example, Russia says the United Arab Emirates is just months away from buying the formidable Su-35 multi-role fighter jet, the current queen of the Russian Air Force fighter fleet. So, hey, man, Russia is truly a guard unto these people, man. And we saw an example last night when the U.S. and UK and France engaged Syria, a Russian ally. A lot of these missiles were able to be deflected with old systems, with old anti-defense systems, man. Imagine when they roll up in there with a big dog shit where a missile come in and before the missile even get close, the anti-missile system is firing back, man. At stupid speeds, So, hey, we in that time. We in a time of war. We ain't in a time of peace. We ain't in a time of these people making up. This is just a small escalation of something bigger and bigger and bigger that's on the plate of the Most High's prophecy, man. So, I just wanted to bring that out, man. Lord willing, is that a fine man? Call halal, Yahweh, Bashem, Yahushua. Hey, man, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much peace, love, and salutations to you brothers out there pushing the word.
So
so we live. Okay. Live, got one person watching radio.
Then we're too far?
No. We using Jamba Juice right now. It's just a little slow, that's right. Just waiting for it to some reason to load up. Alright, so yeah, we just gotta, I'm just gonna use it to follow the comment board or whatever. Alright, we wanna give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wahawah Kwadash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone for teaching word and truth and sincerity and for ruling well. Salutations to our fellow Akim across the four corners of the globe, preaching in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai. It's the brother Gabar Yahweh.
This is the brother Kahan Allah.
Khan from GMS Hawaii, and we are just doing another sit down. You know, the Spirit God is doing these weekly sit downs, live shows, and you know, it's a lot going on, man. It's a lot going on. You know, today Trump along with Britain and France, okay, just shot missiles over there in Syria, okay, hitting some so-called strategic spots over there in Syria against their you know, their chemical weapons plants, okay, all right, to try to halt them from supposedly using more chemical weapons on their people, man, okay. And you know, that's how Esau does, man. Esau goes into these different nations and these different places, okay, to exert his authority and his power over these nations. Hey, slack here, brother. Take this one out right here. Yeah, to take his to use his authority to exert his authority over these different nations. Okay, so real quick, can you get Habakkuk chapter 2? Habakkuk chapter 2. Hold on. I'm gonna move the car. This shit ain't working.
If it doesn't work, I could put the hotspot on the phone, maybe.
Oh, no, you gotta use your hotspot. You got the free John right there, bro. Hit the water, though. Yeah, you should use free shit. Yeah. Just gonna turn these lights off. Alright. So, yeah, Habakkuk chapter 2. I'll tell you where to go to. Should be Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5. Yep, Habakkuk 2 and 5.
This is the book of Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 5. Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man.
Yeah, those different philosophies, his democracy, okay, his libertarianism, his conservatism, his homosexuality and lesbianism, his witchcraft. Okay, go ahead.
Neither keepeth at home.
Oh, read it again, brother Slack.
Oh, from the top. Oh, yeah. This is Habakkuk 2 and 5. Yeah, also because he transgresseth by wine.
And that's what Esau does. He transgressed the laws of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai with those different philosophies. That's the different wines, okay?
He is a proud man, neither keepeth at home.
Yeah, he a proud man and neither keepeth at home. And that's the point I would to hone in on. Because here it is, you know, whatever aside or these so-called people, these other nations are doing in their country, that's their country. That's they have the right to do whatever they want in their country. But Esau, through his military might, Esau through his policy setting, such as the the UN Security Council, okay, he uses that to go into other countries and say, hey, we're gonna be the policemen of the world. We're gonna go dictate
what's going to happen in these different places. And if there's a tyrant ruler, we got to remove him, and we got to set up a right government. Like today, Trump said if you brothers was watching, Trump said, he basically said, America is going to use all its righteous power. Righteous. I was like, righteous? And that's the first thing, like, ain't nothing righteous about you Edomites, man. Ain't nothing righteous about America. But see, that's the pride that this so-called white man is set up on. So keep reading, bro.
Who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all nations.
Yeah, he can't be satisfied, man. He goes to all these different nations, and he tries to, he exert his power, but he can't. So I can read that again.
Who enlarges his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied.
Right. So his desires is to rule the world, to take all the resources, and really, you see, it's not Trump. Trump is just a puppet, but it's the elite bankers, the Rothschilds, the Gettys, the DuPonts, those people. Okay, they got everything that they can wish for and then some, but it's not enough, because it says he enlarges his desires as hell and cannot be satisfied. Hell is the grave. Hell is the earth, the ground, and no matter how many people die, the ground always got enough room to put more people in it, man. And that's indicative of Esau's appetite for power and rulership, man. Because really, he wants the whole world. Trump is just a puppet, and America is just the military arm of the Rothschilds, man. That's why they put so much money into their military here in America, is because the Rothschilds use this one as a chief army to invade other nations, okay? To invade other nations, Salakia.
And ultimately, Esau wants to be like the Most High. That's why they want to implant the RFID chip, so that they can basically see and control everything, from the smallest to the greatest things that are going on in the world. That's why they spy on you. That's why everything is controlled basically through their how do you call it? Well, yeah, through technology now.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's your credit cards, your cell phones. They hear you every single day, whether you think they don't. They're listening to you. They're watching you.
Fine. That's
So
right, man.
They want to.
You got it, brother.
Oh, so they want to basically put that RFID chip to basically brand you and say, this is my property. I can do whatever I want with him.
Yeah, they want to be the Most High, man.
That's right.
Okay, they want to be the Most High, man. But they want to rule in wickedness, man. Because they're not ruling in righteousness. Trump can use all the big words that he wants and the additive words he wants. He's not ruling in righteousness, man. And this place is wicked, man. So what is America? America should be the last people to go into another nation and tell them what they should and should be doing. Like he was saying, because this is how they do. They build up these guys and they make them this evil guy, so that the people can say, you know what, whatever military action you're going to take, we're going to be behind you, because this guy's a bad guy. Oh, they're killing innocent men, women, and children. Hey, but what did the so-called white man do to set this place up, man? He killed so-called innocent men, women, and children, which the scripture says, no, whoever perished being innocent, okay? And that's nobody have. So everybody dies because that's their judgment, however they go out. But the point of the matter is that the so-called white man, you grabbed up people that you didn't have a beef with, or that didn't have a beef with you, and you forced them to come over here and build this land. Those people are the Israelites, the people that was already living in this land of America. America. So-called Native Americans, so-called Mexicans, and so-called Seminole Indians, man. They were living over here in America. They didn't have no beef with you, man. Shit, you came over here destitute. They showed you how to till the land. They showed you the lay of the land, their language. They opened up their homes to you. And what'd you do, man? You killed them. You used chemical warfare. Okay, what's that? Smallpox, STDs, the common cold. You brought all that. You got it.
No, yeah, and they didn't do it straight up. Like, if somebody comes and tries to fight you straight up, you know what's the deal. But they came how? Like it says, like a snake in the garden.
Yeah.
They came, oh, hey, oh, we're friends, we're cool.
Yeah.
And boom, they stabbed you in the back.
Yeah,
and that's wickedness.
That's right, man. And so, like the scriptures going into, you heap up all things, but his desires is as hell, man. Because the reason, they're not going to tell you average Americans the reason why they over here in Syria, which is really because of that pipeline and because of the greater Israel thing, which basically you Edomites trying to basically get Abraham's blessing that was given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, those different lands, starting from Egypt, the river, starting at the river of Egypt, all the way to the Euphrates, man. And that's what you're trying to do by your own might, man. But what you're going to do is you're going to drag everybody, all your allies, into the third nuclear world war, man. And that's why we're excited. That's why this lesson is entitled "Damascus shall be a heap," because that's in the scriptures, man. When you look at Syria, that shit, that's a heap, man. Okay, they're getting bombarded with missiles. That's a heap. So you keep reading Habakkuk, brother.
And cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto himself all nations, and heapeth unto him all people.
Yeah, which different nations, we got people from different nations all in America, man. America is the great melting pot. We mentioned this last week. America is that great, so-called great melting pot. The same countries that America wars with and put taxations against and all this other stuff, you got them same people living here, man, calling themselves Americans, man. And you can't be satisfied. You got everybody in your grasp, but you still want more. And the more that you want is the natural resources, man, and the power. So you could bring up the gas prices. You can lower the gas prices. You don't even want one power. That's why they got this thing called globalism. That's why when one nation gets into it, all these other nations follow. And they're scared. These UN Security Council that they had this morning, you know, I was watching a little bit of it on my way to the brother. You know, they were, you know, these people talking about, look, this is the same thing they did in Iraq. You know, they used those smooth words. Okay. Oh, they got WMDs. Okay, they got weapons of mass destruction, chemical weapons. You had Colin Powell sit there and pull out some fucking yellow cake, shit. How you people really believing that this was Saddam had? And I mean, the whole time he ain't had none of that shit, man. When we went to Iraq, man, they wasn't even fighting, man. The first day we got into Iraq, man, them people, they were done, man. They were giving up. You seen people walking in a distance with white flags, waving that shit. The army was non-existent until the so-called, what they call insurgents, which you had, they were all planted, okay, to get uprising, get the people all hyped up to go fight, okay? And you ain't been out of Iraq since, man, okay? Because you want a stronghold and a foothold in the Middle East, man. And Trump is just doing whatever his so-called Jew masters tell him to do, man. He's nobody. Okay, he's not a righteous ruler. For him to say we're gonna use our righteousness, hey, your righteousness is wickedness, man. Okay? Is that it on that? You can give me some more.
I'm trying to all these take up.
Yeah, keep reading.
Habakkuk 2:6. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his.
Yeah, that's right. Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. Because none of that land is yours, man. None of those resources in Syria belong to you, man. Who are you to tell? That's like, what if Al-Assad or Salad, whatever his nigga name is, Al-Assad, what if he decided to say, you know what, America's treating the so-called Negro and Mexicans wrong. We got to go over there and we got to stop them from doing that. All hell will break loose, man. Who is Assad to tell us what to do? Well, like the same shoe on your foot, man. Okay, you're increasing in that which is not yours, man. Which is basically other people's wealth and other people's goods. Okay, you change borders, and the scriptures speak about changing borders, man. Okay, that's a law, and you break it. Thou shalt not remove the ancient landmarks, and you done that. You done that, man. And Syria been at war with Israel, the state of Israel, since the beginning of Israel, and they've been at war, but it's just been like kind of a proxy. But they always been at war, man. So the so-called Jew, he's excited. or they're going in. You got all these different nations going in, but you don't know that it's Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai that's setting y'all up for the okie doke, man. Read it again, brother.
That's right. Shall not all these take up a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his.
Yeah, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, man. Everything that the so-called white man has, everything you so-called elite have, you stole it, man. You stole it. You use witchcraft. You use trickery, skullduggery. None of that belongs to you, man. You heaped all that up. You heaped all those treasures up, and like the scriptures in Job say, you're gonna vomit it all up, man. Woe to him that increaseth that which is not his, meaning destruction to him that increaseth that which is not his, man. You stole people, you stole lands, you stole heritages, our heritage. Now you're trying to go over there and do that. And the crazy thing about it is, if you brothers ever get on YouTube, type in Gaddafi speaking to the Arab League, man. When he was speaking to all those Arab leaders, you had Assad there, you had the people from Saudi Arabia there, you had obviously Muammar Gaddafi. It was all those Arab nations, man. And Gaddafi said, look, man, hey, they're coming after me, but y'all might be next too. They'll get me, and then they're going to get y'all. And Assad was laughing. Assad was laughing like, oh, this guy is fucking funny. But now they on your ass, man. Now you the boogeyman of the Middle East, man. They already got Saddam Hussein, because he said they got Saddam Hussein. They're going to come after me next. And then they're going to come after the rest of y'all. And Saudi Arabia is in the pockets of the so-called Jew. Because there are Edomites. They're so-called Jews. Okay? And all those people, they're on their hit list, man. And Assad was there laughing. I never forget that, man. Okay? He was there laughing. Okay? But dude was telling the truth. He was prophesying to y'all and y'all ain't even know it. Because they killed Saddam like a wild animal. They hung him. And they killed Muammar Gaddafi in the street like a wild animal. They shot him. And then the rest of the nations, they ready to get you out of there, man. Because y'all the problem. See, Saudi Arabia, they with the movement. They with the so-called white man. They really think that the so-called white man got their best interest. So whatever they do, which really the house of Saud is nothing but Edomites anyway. So-called Jews perpetrating the fraud as if they're Muslim, man. Okay? Keep reading, bro.
How long? And to him that ladeth himself with thick clay.
Which is that debt. America's in debt up to his fucking head, man. The top of his head. The top of her head, man. And they're laden himself with thick clay. Look that word up. It's going to say debt. Thick clay, man. America is in so-called $22 trillion, $20 trillion debt. It's really $200 trillion. When you add up all the benefits, like Apostle Hart say, when you add up all the benefits, it's who, and then they never tell you who are you in debt to, man. You in debt to them Rothschilds, man. It says the Hebrew word there is abba. Is that debt? Wait, pledges. Okay, yeah. It says the Hebrew word for debts there is abba ta tayat abba tayat abat yat abat yat. Okay, and read it.
It says weight of pledges, heavy debts.
Yeah, weight of pledges, heavy debt, man. And America is in heavy debt. It's laden with debt, man. This is a debt society. In order to live in a society, you gotta have what? Debt. You want a credit card? How much debt? How much is your debt to ratio or whatever? Your credit to debt ratio. You want a car? How much debt do you have? Even if you in debt over your own personal head, they'll give you a car, man. Put more debt onto you, man. So the scripture says, woe to him that increases that which is not his. Keep reading.
Shall they not rise up suddenly?
Shall they not rise up suddenly?
That shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee, and thou shalt be for booties.
Start up that verse again.
6?
Yeah.
Habakkuk 2:6. Shall not all these take a parable against him, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his.
Yeah, Esau, woe to you that you increase of that which is not yours. Go ahead.
How long? and to him that ladeth himself with thick clay.
Yeah, how long will you last? And to him that laid himself with thick clay, that debt that abatiyat, which is heavy debt. Go ahead.
Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee?
And the day that's going to rise up, that's going to bite you, are these other nations. These other nations are going to turn on America, man. You got the UK talking about we got a special relationship because the UK is the mother of America, man. But guess what? Even that bitch going to turn on her own child, man, and throw nuclear missiles over here, man. All these other nations, they're going to throw nuclear missiles because sometimes I be trying to sit and trying to grasp the idea of, all this happening, like what's going to make these nations, besides the power of Yahweh Shem Shah, obviously, but what event, because it's events that the Lord has got these people doing to go to war with each other. So what event is going to make these nations say, look, we gotta throw missiles into America, man. Even your own allies, man, which Trump is making America an enemy to his own allies. But like, what is going to happen? And then I'll be thinking like, well, maybe it's because just like America uses that idea, they're using chemical weapons on their own people, so we got to strike them down, we got to strike missiles, we got to do this, we got to intervene. Well, what about when America turns on its own people, man? America's going to be turning on its own so-called American citizens, man. You so-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, okay? And the rest of you nations, the rest of the people that live here in America, is the other nations going to say, look, man, the way they tear they people up, we got to do something. So I'll be trying to grasp it. Just like chess, man. What's the next move, man? Because these nations, they don't care about us, man. Trump can have the National Guard, the Army, the NATO troops mow down all the junk, and the other nations won't bat an eye, man. But when you nations, y'all start feeling it in your pockets first, and then y'all start feeling it, then now y'all want people to feel sorry for you, man. The so-called white man is the most proud demon on the earth, okay? But he's the first one to call somebody else a racist. He's the first one to call somebody else a thief. He's the first one to call somebody else a monster. Here it is, America was established on bloodshed, iniquity. Okay, you killed the children of Israel, enslaved us, took our land, took our heritage, and then you got the audacity to talk about you gonna go to Syria or any other nation and intervene in their problems, man, which you caused through your financial arm, the IMF, the World Banking, banking community, all of that shit. You Edomites, you behind that, man. Ain't no Jake sitting up there, and if you do got a Jake, he's just a lackey. But it's really you Edomites, man. Let's keep reading, bro.
And awake, I'm gonna start from the top of 7. Shall they not rise up suddenly that shall bite thee, and awake that shall vex thee?
Yeah, it's gonna vex you, man.
And thou shalt be for booties unto them.
You gonna be for booty, man. Like you invade all these other countries, you gonna be invaded, man. The whore, that virgin daughter of Babylon, she's gonna get bust wide open, man, from these different nations, man. Really from Yahweh Shem Shai. He's gonna use all these armies to attack you, man. And 2/3 of Israel, you're gonna get swept up in all of that. 1/3, Lord willing, we part of the elect. That number gonna be saved up out of here, man. But the point of the matter is, you're gonna be for booty, man. And booty is like treasure. They're gonna rob you. You know what I'm saying? You wealthy people, you ain't got enough money to Salaki. You ain't got enough money to basically pay these people off when they come, man. When they come, they want blood, man. And you average everyday American citizens, man, you're right for the picking. Go ahead, bro.
Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee.
Yeah, America, man. What other nation has done that? What other nation has robbed other nations, man? First and foremost, you robbed the children of Israel, the nation of Israel, Yasha Allah. So-called blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, Seminole Indians, those are the true people of Israel, man. Because those people in Israel today, they don't fit none of the curses, they don't fit none of the prophecies, and they are not the Lord's people, man. And then on top of that, you robbed and raped all these other nations, man. You came out here to Hawaii and you robbed Japheth, made the kingdom of Hawaii a fucking vassal state, and then you made it a state. See? That's what you do, and you never been spoiled. Read that again, bro.
Because thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee.
Yeah, so all the remnant of the people gonna spoil you, man. These other nations, they're gonna spoil you, man. Because best believe, all that shit that America is doing over there to these other nations, man, it's gonna come back to you, man. All these major cities, man, they're gonna be looking like Beirut. They're gonna be looking like Damascus, man. Okay, and this is not we're not bigging up Assyria, man. Because Assyria, first and foremost, spiritually, Assyria is America. Ancient Assyria is spiritually America today. Just like America is spiritually Babylon, spiritually Sodom and Egypt. Okay? But those people in Syria, man, hey, good for them, man. It's written in the scriptures that it was going to be destroyed, man. Okay? Because those Assyrians put the northern kingdom in slavery, man. You destroyed our people, man. What do you think? That it was just going to be, it's just, we going to go from one ruler to the next and everything's going to be everything? Hey, this is judgment from Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. That was it on that, bro. Got some more?
Because of men's blood and for violence of the land, of the city, and of all that dwell therein.
I'll read verse 9.
Woe to him that coveteth an evil covetousness to his house, that he may set his nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil.
Yeah, and that's what you want. That's what you really trying to do. You got the space hotels, you got the ISS space station, and any other stations out there that you ain't told the people about. You think that you got your nest on high, your weapons system on high, that you may be delivered from the day of evil, because that's what Yahweh Shem Shai is going to bring to you, is evil, man. So he's going to use the ground troops, these armies, to do the work, to get you into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and then Yahweh Shai is going to come back, man. He's going to finish you off, man. Turn all your Air Force, because Russia got an Air Force called what they call them, they call them something death from above or some shit like that. That's what Russia, Putin named the Russian Air Force, death from above, man. Well, guess what? They're gonna be turned into dust, man. All your armies are gonna be destroyed, man, by Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay, so let's go to Jeremiah 49, 23. I'm gonna read the 27.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, verse 23. Concerning Damascus, Hamath is confounded, and Arpad, for they have heard evil tidings, Salakia. They are faint-hearted. There is sorrow on the sea. It cannot be quiet. Damascus is waxed feeble, and turned herself to flee.
Yeah, and so Damascus used to be a prosperous city in ancient Assyria, man. That's why there's still a capital of Assyria to this very day. And it prides itself for being one of the oldest remaining cities, capitals on the earth. Because back then, they were waxing good, they were waxing rich. They waxed rich when they put us in slavery. They waxed rich when they was going around destroying other people. Okay? When they were part of the Neo-Assyrian Babylonian Empire, they was popping. Okay? The Assyrian Empire, they had a thing where they had a bunch of tyrants. The Assyrian kings were known for being very harsh with their captors, man. Destroying the children of Israel from the northern kingdom. Right? But now they wax feeble, man. You just go on YouTube and type in drone footage of Assyria, man, Damascus or Hamas. I'm sorry, Homs. I think it's called Homs, man. Hey, that place looked like like a gray deserted area, man. A million bombs hit this place, man. And then now you got strategic strikes from these different nations, chiefly America, Britain, and France. Okay, chief NATO countries, making it even that much more of a heat, man. And Iraq looked just like that, bro. Because Iraq, a lot of people didn't know, Iraq was being bombed all throughout the 90s by Bill Clinton. So when we went over there, they still had holes in a lot of different places. It was so fucked up that they couldn't rebuild their infrastructure. And then on top of that, Saddam Hussein, he was using a lot of the money. He was a king. He's basically the king of Iraq. So he was using a lot of them shit to beautify his place, and he was saving a lot of that, you know, those riches and shit. But they was constantly bombing that place since like the 90s, man. So by the time 2003 got over there, that place looked like a fucking, it looked like shit, man. It already looked like shit because you got them Arabs over there, okay? But that place looked like 2 times as shit, man. And then once they got done with the shock and awe campaign, hey, it's still buildings in Iraq with holes in it from 2003, man. Now, how much more Damascus? How much more Assyria, man? Because it's not just the oil that they went over there. They went that they trying to build a gas pipeline from a certain area, I think coming up from Saudi Arabia, going through Israel, Lebanon, or going through Israel to Syria, so they can have basically because Russia got a pipeline that they give Europe's natural gases and shit. So they want to have their own natural gas pipeline. So they trying to circumvent the Russians' pipeline. So that's what that. Oh, they want to run it through. Also want to run through a pipeline through Afghanistan. So that's what that shit is all about, man. Natural resources, man. Shit that don't belong to you. You trying to heap up. Go ahead, bro.
And fear has ceased on her.
Yeah.
Anguish and sorrows.
It says fear has ceased on her.
Yeah, ceased. Ceased.
And fear has. Yep. Fear has seized on her. Fear. I'm sorry. And praise. I'm sorry. Let me see that.
24.
It says Damascus is waxed feeble and turneth herself to flee, and fear hath turned herself. I'm sorry. And fear hath seized on her, and anguish and sorrows have taken her as a woman in travail. And that's right. That's what happened to Damascus. That's exactly what's happening to Damascus right now, man. Because at one time, like I told you, it was a strong state. It was a strong city in Assyria. Nobody was messing with the Assyrians, man. They were hardcore, man. But now they wax feeble. Now they broke. Okay, now fear is all on them, man. What's going to happen? You know, this is going to start the Third World War, and Lord willing, it will. And that's why America is treading lightly on these strikes, man. Or we just hit a couple of these. Make sure we didn't get too many casualties, because they scared of Russia, man. Russia waiting for America to kill some of his people so they can bust America wide the fuck open, man. And that's going to happen. Okay, that's going to happen. That's why Syria is a starting ground to get that shit popping. Keep reading, bro.
How is the city of praise not left?
Yep. How? Because Damascus used to be a praise in the ancient world, man. Now there's not left. Yeah, now there's not left. It's left as shit, man. These people dying all over the place and shit. Bombs dropping out the sky from different NATO countries, man. Different Edomite countries, man. You got ISIS all up in there, so they say. So then you got Russia in there, you got China in there, you got Iran in there, you got America in there, you got UK, France up in there. And there's a fucking fuck fest going on there, busting wide open, man. It's an orgy of war, man, going on over there, man. Go ahead, man.
How is the city of praise not left?
Yep.
The city of my joy?
Yep.
Therefore her young men shall fall in her streets.
Yep, and that's what's happening right now.
And all the men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts.
Yeah, all the men of war shall be cut off in that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, man. Because it's just the beginning, man. Assyria, all throughout Assyria, Israel, all throughout Assyria, Israel, and all the way down to Saudi Arabia, Jordan area. Hey, that shit gonna be hot. Hey, the Middle East is really unstable right now, man. Okay?
And I will kindle a fire in the walls of Damascus, and it shall consume the places of Ben Hadad.
Yeah, it's gonna consume the places of Ben Hadad, man. That was it right there?
Okay.
Go to Isaiah, that joint we had in Isaiah 17:1. Isaiah 17:1.
This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 17:1. The burden of Damascus, behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city.
Yeah, Damascus is taken away from being a city, man. Okay, go ahead.
And it shall be a ruinous heap.
And it's going to be a ruinous heap, man. When Yahweh Shema Shai get done with that place, man, hey, that place is going to be a ruinous heap, man. Because they're going to get, they're going to either get Al-Assad out there, and during the Third World War, it's going to escalate, man. And that's what the UN Security Council is worried about, it escalating to what? A Third World War, man. Okay, the Lord's putting it on the spirit of these nations to get to fighting, man. All for his glory, man. See, because the one who's going to get their name or praise out here, it's not going to be Trump. It's not going to be America. It's not going to be Putin in Russia. It's going to be Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, man. You're going to know that the Lord of hosts, the Lord of armies has done this, man. Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai say in Exodus 15:3, Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name, man. Right. Go ahead, man.
The cities of Aurora are forsaken.
Yeah.
They shall be for flocks, which shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid.
Yeah, because when, like I was telling you, I want to go to something real quick. I'm gonna show you this. This is hold on, bro. Like I was telling you that, you know, Israel's border is going to be enlarged, right? It's going to be enlarged from what it is over here right now. Abraham's blessing, land blessing, land blessing. Yeah, this is I just want to get an image of it. If it come up. Shalaki, brother. Because that land that Israel's borders are, yeah. This is Abraham's inheritance right here. Okay? It's going to stretch from, this is modern day Israel, right? And this is Assyria. This is Syria right here. I'm going to show the brothers on here real quick. Yeah. Yeah, show them. Let me move this out the way. Yeah, go show the brothers. All right, so that's Abraham's. This is Abraham's blessing that the Lord gave Abraham for the borders of his children of Israel, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So the children of Israel, these are going to be our new borders in the kingdom. It's going to be the main state, the hub of that place of all of this is going to be Jerusalem. Okay, so all of this land, this is what the Lord gave Abraham. And so what's going to happen, what the so-called Jew is trying to do, he's trying to make this happen on his own. He's trying to, that's why they call it the Greater Israel Project. But see, they got to do it with deceit and cunning and craft. But Yahweh Ba'Shem Shai is going to do this by the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai. Okay, let me get that. So his borders, Abraham's borders, it's like Abraham's borders stretch from Egypt, and we were captives in Egypt. They're gonna go all the way down to it's gonna encompass all these lands in which the Nile is at. Okay, it says so it's gonna go, and I'm gonna go to the scripture. I want you to go to the scripture too in a second. But from the Nile all the way through Iraq, all of Saudi Arabia, Yemen to Oman, all that area is gonna be, that's gonna be the borders of Israel, Syria. And that's why when a brother was reading that it was going to be flocks there and no one's going to make it afraid, because that's going to be Israel land. And ain't nobody going to come up against Israel, man. That's right. Ain't nobody coming up against Israel. Real quick, I'm just going to go see if I can find this and where the scripture said. Yeah, nobody's going to make Israel afraid, man. So our borders are going to see a lot of these lands that you got nations in right now. Esau fighting over it. It don't belong to you, Esau. It belongs to the children of Israel, man. The true children of Israel, which is us, man. Okay, the brothers that's watching this. Okay, so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. We're the Israelites that the Bible speaks of. Okay. For some reason it ain't. It's taking shit takes forever and shit. But yeah, you can look it up on that. Go out there. So all that land is really going to be Israel's, man. land. Blessing. It's really going to be Israel's, man. You can go to yeah, it says the covenant's blessing of Abraham's. This is the Church of Latter-day Saints, but I just want to go to it. When you go to Genesis 15:1, let's go to that real quick. Because that didn't happen, man. Those people that's claiming to be Israel today, why y'all ain't got the rest of that land? Why y'all just got that little bit of portion of land, man? Go ahead, brother.
This is the book of Genesis, chapter 15:1. After these things, the word of Yahweh came unto Abraham in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abraham, I am thy shield, and thy exceeding great reward. And Abraham said, Lord, power, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless? And the steward of my house is this Eliezer of Damascus. And Abraham said, Behold.
And so he had an Assyrian slave, man. Go ahead.
And Abraham said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is mine heir. And behold, the word of the Most High Yahweh came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir,
thine heir,
Salakia, thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thy own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be.
So that Abraham's seed is who? The children of Israel, man. Because it wasn't counted for Keturah's 6 sons, and nor was it accounted for Ishmael. It was accounted for Isaac and Jacob. Go ahead.
And he believed in the Most High, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am the Most High Yahweh that brought thee out of Ur of the Chaldees to give thee this land to inherit it.
Yeah, so Abraham actually went into the land that was going to be his in the future, but he didn't stay there. Okay, he went from Ur of the Chaldees, which I think was like in modern day Iraq, Ur of the Chaldees, and he actually walked. He went from place to place, but it ended up being the circumference of where he was gonna have what he was gonna have. He actually passed through Canaan, the land of Canaan, Egypt, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
And he said, Lord, power, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me an heifer of 3 years old,
an
heifer of 3 years old, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took unto him all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another, but the birds divided he not.
Yep.
And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abraham drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abraham, and lo, an horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abraham, Now know of a surety that thy seed shall be a stranger,
yep,
in a land that is not theirs.
And that happened in ancient Egypt. He had that dream, and we was gonna be a stranger in Egypt for 400 years, man. We were gonna be slaves in Egypt. We were strangers in the land for 30 years, and then they ended up putting us in slavery. Go ahead. That's it right there. You don't have to go no deep. Just finish it off. Finish that verse off.
And shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years.
Yeah, and a lot of people try to say that's got something to do with us being in America since so-called 1619, which Jake came to America in the 1500s, with the Spaniards. Okay, but they try to say that, but that's not the same thing. That was talking about ancient Egypt. Real quick, this is Genesis chapter 12, verse 7. And Yahweh appeared unto Abram and said, unto thy seed will I give this land, and there builded he an altar unto Yahweh, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence he removed from thence unto the mountain of the east of Bethel, and pitched a tent in Bethel. And he says in Bethel on the west of Hai, and on the east, and there he builded an altar unto Yahweh, and called upon the name of Yahweh. So Abraham knew the name of the Lord. And Abraham journeyed going on till toward the south, and there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, and for the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarah, my wife, behold, now I know that thou art a fair woman to look upon. So that was when he had the issue was arising about he had he tricked the Egyptian guy, king. Well, I don't think it was that was his sister. But I'm just looking for the land promise from where to where. So just bear with me. This is Genesis 26 and 3 through 4. Genesis 26, 3 and 4. And it says, I'll read it right here. Verse 2. I'll read verse 1. And there was a famine in the land besides the first famine that was in the days of Abraham. And Isaac went into the Abimelech, king of the Philistines, unto Gerar. And the Lord Yahweh appeared unto him and said, go not down into Egypt, dwell in the land which I shall tell of thee. Sojourn in the land, and I will be with thee, and will bless thee. For unto thee and unto thy seed I will give all these countries, and I will perform the oath which I swear unto Abraham thy father, and to make thy seed and I will make thy seed to multiply as the stars of heaven, and will give unto thee, unto thy seed, all these countries, and in thy seed shall all nations of the earth be blessed. So in our seed, all the nations are blessed. In the seed of what? Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Not Abraham, Isaac, and Esau, but Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Because when we're ruling, we're going to be in righteousness. So all the nations are going to be blessed. And on top of that, we're scattered in these other nations for our iniquities. And so they're blessed, man. Okay, he says, Genesis, can you go to Genesis 28 and 4? I'm looking at a blessing of the promised land. Yeah.
Genesis 28 and 4. And give thee, start at 3. And Yahweh Almighty bless thee, and make thee fruitful, and multiply thee, that thou mayest be a multitude of people, and give thee the blessing of Abraham to thee and to thy seed with thee, that thou mayest inherit the land wherein thou art a stranger, which Yahweh gave unto Abraham. And Isaac sent away Jacob, and he went to Padam Aram unto Laban, son of Bethuel the Syrian, the brother of Rebekah, Jacob's and Esau's mother. When Esau saw that Isaac had blessed Jacob and sent him away to Padan Aram to take him a wife from thence, and that as he blessed him, he gave him a charge, saying, thou shalt not take a wife of the daughters of Canaan.
Yeah, Esau ended up taking a wife for the daughter of Canaan. So again, we're trying to go through the lands that the Lord promised Abraham. If you brothers on the comment board know exactly what we're talking about, where Yahweh told him the land that he was going to give him, but he kept saying all these different countries. So what are these different countries that we're going to inherit? Real quick, this is we're going to inherit portions of Egypt, all the way to what is modern day Sudan today, Ethiopia, portions of Ethiopia, all of Israel, Lebanon, Syria, Damascus, and we're reading about Damascus being a heap. Okay, Damascus, Jordan, Iraq. Okay, all of that's going to be ours, man. Everything from the Nile River all the way up into the Euphrates River is going to belong to the children of Israel and the kingdom of heaven. But right now, you got heathens in those lands. Right now, you got wickedness in all those lands, man. Right now, Yahweh Shah is preparing war in those lands, man. Okay? And those are going to be the borders of Israel, man. All right? And so these people that are living in this land, they gotta come up out of there, man. Now, how they gonna come up out of there after this Third World War? Those that remain, they're going into hardcore slavery. Those that remain, they're going into hardcore slavery, man. Under who? The children of Israel. Okay? Salaki. Real quick, this is Joel chapter 3, verse 1. Joel 3:1. Oh, you found it, bro?
No, I'm looking for it.
This is Joel chapter 3, verse 1. For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. Verse 2, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat. It says Jehoshaphat, but it's Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage. And for my heritage, Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land. So all these different nations, if you look about, the Egyptians had us in slavery, the Edomites got us in slavery, they had us in slavery several times, the Assyrians, the Babylonians over there in Iraq, not the people that are living there now, because those people that are living there now are sons of Ishmael. A lot of them are mixed, and a mixture of our nation too, but a lot of them, the people that run that place are people of Ishmael. But the ancient Babylonians, they had us in slavery in all these different areas, and to think we're going to own all of this, man.
And I got
Go ahead, bro.
15 and 18.
Go ahead, brother.
This is Genesis chapter 15, verse 18. In that same day, Yahweh made a covenant with Abraham, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates.
So this land, that land that the brother was talking about, that the brother's reading about right there in Genesis 15, is right here, man. From the Nile River all the way to the Euphrates, man. Okay? And in this land, that's why we're going to have in the Saudi Arabia area, that place where we violate the Haman Gog, where we're going to have them heathens bury them Russian troops and all the rest of the troops that die over there, because that's our land. It got to be cleansed. All the people that's going to die are the people that shed the blood of Israel, man, including 2/3 of Israel that go to the military, and they're going to die over there, man. That was it in there. That was cash money right there. Ate the water, brother. You want to go back to Jeremiah 49, and it was 23 to 27. I don't know where you left off at.
No, we were on Isaiah 17.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Isaiah 17. Salakia, brother.
We were on the second verse. Should I read from
Go
the
ahead.
top?
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Isaiah 17 and 1. The burden of Damascus, behold, Damascus is taken away from being a city, and it shall be a ruinous heap.
So Damascus is going to be a ruinous heap, man. And then when we get there, they're going to build it up. It's going to be beautified, man. It's going to be beautified, but that's the judgment of Damascus, man. So you wonder why Damascus is all fucked up, why they got that war over there in Syria going on. It's really because of judgment, man. Go ahead.
The cities of Aurora are forsaken. They shall be for flocks which shall lie down, and none shall make them afraid.
Yeah, we're going to have flocks there, and none's going to make us afraid. The flock, first and foremost, the children of Israel, the sons of Israel, the sons of Yahweh Shai, it's going to be dwelling there. And then the flocks of sheep and all the other animals, ain't not going to make nobody afraid when we get that land back. Go ahead, bro.
The fortress also shall cease from Ephraim, and the kingdom from Damascus, and the remnant of Syria. They shall be as the glory of the children of Israel, saith the Lord Yahweh of hosts.
That's right, man.
And in that day it shall come to pass that the glory of Jacob shall be made thine, and the fatness of his flesh shall wax lean.
That wax lean, man. So yeah, man. So Yeah, man, and it's gonna be beautiful, man. You know, but you know, cause Assyria took the northern kingdom, Shalmaneser the fifth, man, took them, and that's why Jake got over to the Americas, man, cause they left the land that they thought they was gonna follow the ways of their fathers in a different land that they ain't following their own land. But the point of the matter is that, you know, those Assyrians, they displaced us, man. They displaced the northern kingdom. We talk about, you know, Esau and what he's done to the southern kingdom, but hey, man, what the Assyrians did to the northern kingdom was unbelievable, man. Okay, but it was all the judgment of the Lord. Can you get Jeremiah 49:12? But it was all the judgment of the Lord. Now you other nations, you're starting to reap those judgments, man. And as we get closer and closer and closer to World War III, you're going to see more birth pains, because today it was a birth pain, man. Today was a birth pain of World War III, man. Those strikes, man, they weren't just a little thing, man. Okay, they got these nations in panic. People are bracing themselves. Russia is bracing its people to save up provisions, food provisions. Okay, go ahead, bro.
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49
and 12.
And 12. 49 and 12. For thus saith Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup have surely drunken, and art thou he that shall not altogether go unpunished?
Yeah, so it wasn't meant for us to be slaves, but because of our iniquities, we had to drink that cup of slavery, man. And there's a lot that come with slavery. People don't make a, you know, these so-called Christians, they try to say, oh, you know, the Bible God doesn't condone slavery. Yes, he does. Yes, he does, in every way. But there's a righteous way to have slaves, and there's a wicked way to have slaves. The so-called white man, you use your wickedness to have us as slaves, the Israelites. Okay? You did that to us. But through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shai, we're going to have you nations, along with the nation of Edom, you're going to be in slavery and righteousness. You still going to get fucked up. Don't get it twisted. There's something called a righteous ass whooping, man. And you're going to get that, man. Okay? But we drunk that cup. Can you read it again, brother?
For thus saith Yahweh, behold, they whose judgment was not to drink of the cup.
Yeah, so it wasn't meant for our judgment wasn't meant for us to be slaves, man. We were meant to be the rulers on this earth, man, over all you nations, man. We would have all you other nations in hardcore slavery. But because of our iniquities, you know, I don't even want to say, because like spiritually it was all set up to happen anyway. But like, let's say it was a detour, you know, when Eve went off in the garden and then she had Adam follow her. Okay, then that detour happened where, okay, now that it's done, now we're gonna have to suffer for our sins. Now we're gonna have to till the land for our meats. Now we're gonna have to be out there naked, man. Go ahead, brother.
Have assuredly drunken, and art thou he that shall not altogether go unpunished?
Yeah, so we drunk of that cup. So are you not gonna go into that punishment? And these Edomites, they don't want to go into slavery, man. Okay. They always talking all this shit. They magnify themselves against us. They talk about our slavery and our condition, but they don't want to have to suffer retribution for what they've done to the sons of Israel, man. You don't want to suffer that, but we did it. So, hey, y'all not the Lord's people, man. So what the fuck you think gonna happen to you, man? Hey, the Most High is gonna, this slavery is gonna destroy y'all, man. Sometimes I say, man, after that 1,000 years of slavery, Esau gonna jump in that fire, man. He gonna jump. He gonna run. He gonna run to jump in that fire, man. Because we're gonna be on his ass like white on rice, man. So after 1,000 years, it only makes sense that you Edomites be wholly destroyed, because you're not needed, man. Nobody needs the wicked, man.
That's right.
The righteousness is gonna prevail on the earth forever. So why we need wickedness, man? These other nations, they gonna go off here and there. We're gonna jack them up. But hey, nothing like Esau. You could never get right. Esau, you could never conform to righteousness, man. It's not in your spirit. So after 1,000 years, you gotta be destroyed, man. The Lord gotta take you off of here, man. Like it was this movie I saw back in the day called the Miseducation, the Education of Sonny Carson. The Education of Sonny Carson, which he had beef with this one dude, and he was like, man, I gotta take him out of here. I gotta take him off of this earth. You know, Jake, hate each other and shit. He's like, I gotta take him off. Nigga ain't even do nothing that serious. He just had to take him off the earth. He was hell bent on taking this guy out of there, man. Until he did it. Until he got the nigga out of it, stabbed the nigga up, man. Okay, so the point of the matter is that that's how Yahweh Shema Shai looks at you heathen nations, chiefly the nation of Edom. We drunk of that cup. Are you gonna go unpunished? Hell no. And this war that's coming, and this war, it's already here, man. Truthfully speaking, we just ain't in a full-fledged World War III, man. It's been a long time since the Lord had a big culling, man. And you look that word up, that's like you kill a whole bunch of people, man. A culling, man. You kill a whole bunch of people to kill a fat, trim the fat, you know what I mean? So it's like over almost 8 billion people on the earth, man. A lot of people gonna die, man. A lot of motherfuckers gonna die, man. Okay? Go ahead.
Thou shalt not go unpunished, but thou shalt surely drink of it.
Yeah, you ain't gonna go unpunished. You're gonna surely drink of it, man. You gonna drink this shit. You gonna drink the dregs. You know how motherfucker have a bottle of some beer, and you got the backwash on the bottom. That's what they call it on the bottom is the backwash. And nobody likes that shit. It's all hot. And nobody wanna drink that shit. That's what you're gonna be drinking, Esau. You're gonna be drinking that, man. And your kingdom's gonna fall by violence, man. Hey, the scripture says something about, I think it's like, I'm roughly paraphrasing, a city built with violence, the Dutch are gonna fall by violence, man. America was built by violence, so it's gonna fall by violence, man. And that's the only language you so-called white people understand, you Edomites. That's the only language you understand is violence, man. Okay? Go ahead, brother.
For I have sworn by myself.
Yeah, Yahweh swore by himself, man. That means he can't take it back. He won't.
Saith Yahweh, that Basra shall become a desolation.
Basra was an ancient, major city in the ancient world of Edom. Now modern day Basra is America, man. You see, America is all these spiritually, and that's another thing like vocab alone and his little hit list of reprobates can't get. Because they laugh at the fact that we say that America is spiritually Sodom of Egypt. They say, which is not. Yes, it is, man. It's spiritually Babylon the Great. Yes, it is, man. It follows the ways of these ancient societies, man. America is all those ancient societies in one. That's why this place is so wicked, man.
Because Esau ultimately just wants things to be shown to him that you could prove. And that's why they come up with all these fucking theories about evolution and all that shit, trying to basically prove how everything was made and why we're here. And since this is all spiritual, man, and that's why we got the book. And who was this book for? For the Israelites. So they're not gonna be able to get it, and that's why they don't accept that fact that these places are called spiritually Sodom and Gomorrah, spiritually Egypt, because this is a spiritual book, man. And back to the word spiritual, I don't remember right now how to pronounce it, the Greek word, but it means close to God. And who are the only people close to God? The Israelites, to Yahweh. So this book is only for us. So you have nothing to do trying to figure out what the Holy Scriptures say, man.
Yeah.
Because this was given to the men of the Lord, starting with the apostles on down, and to all his servants.
Yeah.
And this is what we're doing, breaking it down for our people, not for you Edomites, not for you other heathens. This is only for us, man. If you're listening to us and you're part of our people, and the Most High gave you this knowledge, this is for you, man.
Yep.
Not for nobody else. If you a fucking heathen, if you a Edomite especially, you got no business not even listening to us, man. Because all you're gonna do is fucking be wicked, trying to fucking mock us and scoff us.
Yep.
That's all you're gonna do.
And the only thing you need to hear from us is your judgment, man. That's it, because there ain't nothing good coming to Edom, man. And the scriptures, I was looking for the scripture, it says a carnal man can't understand things spiritual because they are spiritually discerned, man. And Esau, you hella carnal, man. You the definition of carnal, man. Okay? Is that in that?
For I have sworn by myself, saith Yahweh, that Basra shall become a desolation, a reproach, a waste, and a curse, and all the cities thereof shall be perpetual wastes.
And that's not talking about ancient Edom, man. That's talking about America, man. All these cities are going to be perpetual waste because it's people that live in Edom, which is now called modern day Jordan. Okay? But in America, this place is going to be a desolation, a permanent desolation, man. A city of waste, man. All these cities going to be, you're not even going to be able to tell where they started at, man. Okay? That's how destroyed America's going to be, man. It's going to be a big-ass desert, man. The biggest desert on the planet Earth, man. After all the fire, after all the smoke clear, it's going to be a home to desert creatures, man. And the whole of every foul spirit, man. Okay? Only time we're going to see this place in the kingdom of heaven is we hit the rewind button or this place is getting destroyed, or we fly over this motherfucker, man, and show our children, man, hey, look, that's where we was enslaved at. That's where wickedness was prevailing at. And we were all there at one time. Our kids were like, really? We were all there? Yeah. Okay, and hit the rewind button. Hey, look, man. We were going off there, and then we was enslaved there to the nation of Edom, man. This is their headquarters right here, man. And they're gonna look at it like in astonishment. I fucking hate Edomites, man. Let's go kill some right now. Oh yeah, come on. You know what I mean? It's gonna be beautiful in the kingdom of heaven, man. But this place is gonna be a remembrance of what happens when wickedness prevails on the earth and it's allowed to flourish, man. You got it, brother.
That's right. Verse 14, I've heard rumors.
No, that was it right there, man. So yeah, man, we're gonna wrap it up. You know what I mean? You got any main closing statements, brother? No. Yeah, man. So Assyria, man, is just the beginning of what's gonna happen in World War III, man. This destruction, man. So, hey, brothers, we in some great times. We in some beautiful times, man. What a time to be alive and be a prophet of the Lord, man, and be an Israelite that's awoke. Okay, we got to do whatever it takes for us in righteousness to make our calling and election sure, man. Put these videos out, be brotherly with one another, link up with each other, pay our tithes. If we got it, pay your tithes, man. Okay, be good sons to our spiritual fathers, man, which are the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, man, because they're I don't even like to use that word. They're awesome fathers to us, man. They teaching us how to be men in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai, man. So adhere to them, man, and follow after they lead, man. And you follow after the apostles, you can't go wrong, man. So that's what we're doing. We're trying to do that, man. So, hey, man, listen to your spiritual fathers, man. Stay strong in the faith, man. Now is not the time to be getting weak. We're in a time now to be getting strong, man. It's a year of prophecy, man. Any day now we can wake up and all hell can break loose, man. So with that, man, hey, stay strong in the faith, man.
That's right.
Hey, so with that, all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wahara Kodash. Double honor to the apostles and the elders at Great Millstone for teaching word and truth and sincerity and for ruling well. Salutation to our fellow Akim. Keep pushing, keep striving. We almost out of here. Shalom.
Shalom.
Alright, Shalom. We are the Hebrew Israelites. We're coming here to prophesy the downfall of this wicked kingdom known as America, also known in the scriptures as Babylon the Great. Alright, and we want to give all praises, honor, and glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations to the Akim and the hopefully elect. Alright? This wicked ass kingdom has to be destroyed. Alright? And you can already see that America's on the last leg, man. Alright? The US dollar is inflated. Alright? There's less and less jobs. Alright? Everything is getting more and more expensive. Alright? So the Lord's will that America is collapsing, man. Alright? And the end game is going to be America being destroyed by thermonuclear missiles. Alright? Because that's the will of the Lord. Alright? Who you people, if you ignorantly go to church, and the pastors, they don't tell you, because they don't understand the scriptures. Alright? They're not going to tell you that America's going to be destroyed. Alright? They never go into prophecy. Alright? So you want to pull out Jeremiah 50:1?
This is the book of Jeremiah, chapter 50. The word that Yahweh spake against Babylon and against the land of the Chaldeans by Jeremiah the prophet.
That's right. So it says the word that the Lord spoke against Babylon. Alright, now that's not talking about ancient Babylon. Alright, that's talking about the modern day Babylon. Alright? Because this is a prophecy, man. meaning it hasn't happened yet, but now we're living in those days where it's happening. Go ahead.
Declare ye among the nations and publish, and set up a standard, publish and conceal not.
All right, so the Lord said, declare ye among the nations. All right, and his word has already been published. All right, so we are standing among the nation, all right, declaring that this kingdom is going to be destroyed. All right, we're declaring that this is what the Lord is saying, all right, to the nation of Babylon. I mean, to the kingdom of Babylon. Go ahead.
This is published and concealed not. Say Babylon is taken, Baal is confounded, Merodach is broken in pieces. Her idols are confounded, her images are broken in pieces.
That's right. All right, Baal is confounded. All right, meaning all these false idols. All right, like Jesus Christos, or who the world they call Jesus. All right, that all those idols are being broken down, man. All right. What else? All these different ideologies and these philosophies, like Jehovah wickedness. All right. What is it? Christianity, Roman Catholicism. All these things are being broken down. All right, through the spirit and the power of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right, that's why the Lord. Go ahead.
Verse 3. For out of the north there cometh up a nation against her, which shall make her land desolate, and none shall dwell therein. They shall remove, they shall depart both man and beast.
That's right. All right, because none of these ideologies that people go through, none of them have the answers, man. All right. So the Lord, he's going to demolish their whole doctrine by way of destroying them with these ICBM nuclear missiles. All right, when they see all hell break loose and they see those nuclear missiles go up in the air, all right, they're going to realize that the thing that they've been following has been a lie. All right.
I got a precept real quick. This is Isaiah 46:10, declaring the end from the beginning and from the ancient times the things that are not yet done, saying, my counsel shall stand, and I will do all my pleasure.
That's right. And that's the Lord saying he declared it from the beginning. All right. And his counsel is going to stand, meaning everything that he said that was written is going to follow through. All right. It's actually going to happen. All right. So the Lord, he has his men out here on the highways and hedges that can actually understand what the Lord is saying, man. The Lord is saying that America, which is Babylon the Great in the scriptures, is going to be destroyed, man. All right, and all you people that live wickedly, that go by Babylon, shall be burnt up with this place. Go ahead.
Back in Jeremiah 50, verse 4. In those days and in that time, said the Lord, the children of Israel shall come, they and the children of Judah together, going and weeping, they shall go and seek Yahweh their power.
That's right, and that's what you've seen that's happening right before your eyes. That's why you got, all right, the brothers linking up in the camps. All right, mainly we're speaking about Great Millstone. All right, you got all the tribes gathering under the camps, man. All right, we know who our heritage is. We know who our power is. All right, Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, man. All right, so this is prophecy that's being fulfilled right as we speak.
Precept. This is Amos 9:11. In that day will I raise up the tabernacle of David that is fallen.
Yep. So that day is speaking about the days that we're living in. All right. The Lord, he's raising up the tabernacle of David, man. The Bayoth Dawadah, the house of David. All right. And those are the men, those are the prophets that have been before of old. All right, the Lord, he's waking up waking up their mind, all right, by way of remembrance. All right, and now they understand the scriptures. So now the Lord told them to prophesy, man. All right,
and I will close up the breaches thereof, and I will raise up the ruins.
So the Lord, he's going to close up the separations of the children of Israel. All right. The so-called Latin tribes are not going to be going against, all right, the so-called Negro tribes no more. All right, all the tribes, all the breaches thereof are going to be closed up. The Lord, he's bringing all the children of Israel together, man.
Yeah, and that breach, if a castle has a breach, right? That's a breach. Is susceptible to the enemy coming in. All right, that's why you have the parable of the wheat and the tares. Okay, and the enemy, which is the so-called white man, he was able to breach, Okay, that's why the scriptures talk about there must be a falling away first. You know, and that's why we lost our heritage. Now we're getting our heritage back. Now the Lord is closing all that up. He's raising back up the tabernacle of David of old. All right, the same men that pledged their allegiance to the house of David back then. All right, they're coming back in their lap. Okay. It says, and I will build it as in the days of old.
Yeah, so the Lord is going to build it as in the days of old. All right, meaning they're going to come back to their customs. All right, they're going to come back to following Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahushai, Ba'Shem Rakakadash. All right, so the Lord is building them up. All right, so we can come back to our old ways, because the house of David were mighty men. All right, not confounded by the vibration of this world. All right, because this world will have you, all right, wanting to be, this world will have you trying to be a faggot. All right, this world will rather you be a coward. All right, this world will rather you be, you know.
This world will have you going completely against your power, your Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Because everything about this world, the society is set up completely adversarial to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai.
Exactly. All right. There's a scripture where it says, "My people is going backwards," and that's exactly what this society is set up for. But the Lord, He said, He's raising up the tabernacle of David and building them as in the days of old. All right.
Zechariah 9-12. Turn ye to the stronghold, ye prisoners of hope. Even today do I declare that I will render double unto thee. It's in the stronghold is scriptures. Alright? That's all we have is hope, you know? We're prisoners of hope. So turn you to the stronghold, to the scriptures. Prisoners of hope. Even today I declare that I will render double unto thee, and I have bent Judah for me, filled the bow with Ephraim, raised up thy sons, O Zion, against thy sons, O Greece, and made thee as a sword of a mighty man.
So the Lord, He's building up His men to be mighty men. All right, going into how He's gathering, all right, the elect and polishing them up through the Spirit. All right, so they can be the next rulers, man. All right. In the book of Psalms, it says that at the end, where it said that. All right, we shall sing upon our beds in a sword. You want that? Yeah, go ahead. Are we? It's going to be a literal sword. All right, because the Lord, He's raising up His men to be battle axes, man.
Okay,
all right.
Yeah, I was going to get that scripture for you.
Psalms 49. Yes, Psalms 149:5. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand.
Yep. So it says, let the high praises of the Lord be in their mouth. All right, that's going to the saints, man. Which the Lord, He's raising up the saints right now. All right, and that sword is to execute judgment. All right, and to be a dominating force on the earth, man.
This is Jeremiah 51:20. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms.
All right, so the Lord is going to use His men that He's building up to break in pieces nations, man. All right, that's why the Lord is building His men up. All right, because back in the days, all right, the house of David, there was warriors, man. All right, and they wasn't with, they wasn't with the things that's going on now. All right, the men of the Lord. Or they was going in and besieging, all right, different
nations.
Yeah, different nations going into rape, robbing, killing, man. All right, all in the name of righteousness, though. All right.
Yeah, so, because the earth was created for our sakes. Okay, so we have justification in going and taking you down if we are following the law, statutes, commandments from our power. It's just that when we go up, the Lord, He sets up the base of the men. These other nations to come over us and rule over us, man, and that's a curse. All right, to be ruled over a red pasty devil, to be ruled over a Moabite,
yeah,
okay, to be ruled over a crazy ass Arab,
ruled over by a woman.
Yeah, one of your main enemies, the woman. That's why the scriptures talk about she that is my enemy, same shall she shall see it, and shame shall cover her. All right, so we have been totally infiltrated by the enemy. But now, when we were reading in Amos the 9th chapter, the Lord, He's closing that up. He's setting us in order in front of our oppressor's face. Okay, and now the whole world is going to come to an end. Although when I mean world, it means the age, the eon. The world of Esau is coming to an end. All right, and then the dominance all right, of Jacob's coming in, and the Lord, he's going to use us as battle axe and weapons of war, like the scripture we just talked about, meaning we're going to beat and powder the nations.
It's Jeremiah 16:16. Behold, I will send for many fishers, said the Lord, and they shall fish them. And after
go on the fish.
So the Lord, he said, behold, I will send for many fishers. All right, that's going into how the Lord, he sent out his elect men, all right, to teach this word, to go out on the highways and hedges. All right, and what are they doing? They fishing for the elect. All right, like you got your line, you got the bait, which is this truth, man. All right, and then they send that truth out so they can reel in the elect, man. All right,
we're casting out the net.
Yeah, casting out that net, and within that net, there's good fish, and then there's unclean fish. And what happens to the unclean fish? The unclean fish are thrown back into the water. Okay, the Lord, he's looking for good men. All right, so we're in a time where we're still fishing right now. But soon, continue, bro.
Yep. It says, after I will send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain and from every hill.
So the hunters is talking about when the Lord, he turns us into a weapon of war. Okay? When he turns it into a weapon of war, that's when we're going to be hunting. Okay? We're going to be as righteous angels, executing the righteous anger of Yahweh Shemal Shai. Did we bring it out in Psalms? Did we bring it out yet?
Y'all still got it.
Okay, we still got it. Yep.
It says that from every hill and out of the holes of the rocks.
All right, so the Lord is going to use his men. All right, he's going to build up his men and give them spiritual abilities, man. All right, hey, spiritual power, man, and they're going to be hunting down, all right, the wicked from the holes of the rocks, pulling out the Rockefellers. All right, because they're going to be hiding in the cliffs and the rocks. They got bunkers. All right.
We just seen something today where they said how much was it? 800,000 a night.
It's about 800,000 a night for a space hotel.
Right.
And it's about 200 miles from the Earth. It's going to be orbiting. That's what the so-called white man does. That's what he's doing. He's preparing that. He has these things already set up. Already, and he wants to try to flee. He wants to try to flee from the destruction.
And that's beautiful. Let them try to flee. Let them go run and hide. You know, because this whole thing is to hunt, right? Everybody's prey under the so-called white man, who's the predator, you know. But the Most High is finna turn the tables, and he's finna be the prey. All right, along with all the other wicked rulers of the rest of these nations. Let me get back into this in Psalms 149 and 6 again. It says, "Let the high praises of Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people."
Upon the heathen, all right. The heathen meaning you other nations, man. That's not talking about, all right, Israel right there. That's talking about you other nations, the heathens, man. All right, so there's a clear separation of what the Lord wants. He's only dealing with Israel.
Right now, he's only dealing with the elect of Israel, the Israel of the Most High. Because 2/3 of our people, hey, they're as heathens as well. You know, because we got our people who are scattered up throughout all nations around the four corners of the world. They're not only here in America where they're gonna be burnt up. All right, so they're gonna be rebelling as well. We're gonna be cutting their heads off according to St. Luke 19:27. Those my enemies was not that I should reign over them. All right, because who was Yahweh Shai's main enemy that didn't want him to rule? It was wicked niggas.
Wicked Israelites.
Yeah, wicked niggas, man.
Yeah, the rebels are gonna be getting put to death, man.
Yeah, Israel's the one who killed the prophets, man.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So there's a great judgment for killing the prophets. That's why there's a clear separation between the house of David and the house of Saul. You can see that, and that spirit has been coming out more and more. The separation between the house of David and the house of Saul, man, was the house of Saul represents what? A rebellion. Okay, and what is rebellion according to the scriptures? It's witchcraft. Okay,
the judgment upon the witches, put it to death.
You got to put it to death, and that's ultimately what the Lord is going to do. He's going to put a lot of his people to death. All right along with the so-called white man. All right, the demon of the earth.
Oh, you want to get that in Psalms? I mean, in Proverbs, because thou hast rejected.
1 and 20.
Yeah, we can get that.
It's to execute vengeance upon the heathen and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise you, Lord. How about
He said to bind the kings and the nobles. So that's going into how these higher up and these richer Edomites, they're going to be trying to buy out these bunkers. All right, the Rothschilds, they're gonna try to have their hiding spot, but the Lord is gonna send His hunters out there. All right, and then they're gonna get binded up. All right, meaning they're not gonna immediately get put to death. They're gonna go straight into slavery, first fruits. Yep. All right, so and they gotta bring, you know, the slaves. They're gonna bring back the rest of the Edomites that get put to death.
Precept. Amos 9:2. Though they dig into hell, then shall my hand take them. Though they climb into heaven, then will I bring them up down.
Digging the hell is talking about like some underground bunkers and shit. Cause Esau knows, you know, that it's we're in the time of World War III. Really, the only people that don't know is you simple ass niggas of the tribes, man. You know, so Esau he got his underground bunkers. He got the space stations. Okay, and there he's gonna go to hide what? To hide the destruction, hide from the chariots, hide from Yahweh Shai, you know.
Try to hide from the judgment.
Because he's always been what? A fugitive.
Yeah, the fugitive.
Yep, that spirit that's in Esau that goes back to Cain, you know, he's always been running from judgment.
That's how you know these devils in the spirit. They know they're guilty, man.
Yeah.
All right, especially when they see brothers on the highways and hedges. All right, hey, that's Job.
Yep,
where it says they shall not feel quietness in their belly.
Yep. They got a guilty spirit. All right, because how was this land established? It was established by the blood, sweat, and tears of our people. Are you Negroes, you Hispanics, you Native Americans, okay, the tribes? Whether you believe it or not, your ancestors were in hardcore, rigorous slavery, and you're still being oppressed to this day. It's just the so-called white man has gave you the illusion of freedom. See that you have the illusion of freedom because you have a job, or you're able to. He gives you a liberty to do wickedness. Okay.
And really, when you break into it, you're really a slave, man. And America's like one giant jail cell.
Yep. This is the prison camp. This is the prison camp of the Israelites. We were here to serve our slavery, our sentence. Okay. That's the reason why the Most High brought us into captivity. Okay, is to serve our sentence. But now He's having mercy upon us by allowing us to give us this word and allow us to push this word, man. This is mercy because He's going to come and He's going to send His Son back to deliver us. This is going to be the great and last deliverance. Okay. You had a precept. I have the Jeremiah 50. Yeah, I want you to keep going there.
Jeremiah 50. You go back to where I left off at.
I had Jeremiah 51. Let me finish that. It says, I'll start at the top. Jeremiah 50 and 20, 51 and 20. Thou art my battle axe and weapons of war. For with thee will I break in pieces the nations, and with thee will I destroy kingdoms, and with thee will I break in pieces the horse and his rider.
So the Lord is going to use His men, all right, to break in pieces kingdoms, man. All right, His mighty men. All right, He's going to turn them into hunters by way of endowing them with spiritual ability, supernatural strength. All right, it's going to be something that you people have never heard of, man. All right, you guys see it in movies, all right, but you guys don't think that is actually possible. All right, but it's really going to happen. All right, and the Lord, He's going to use His men to break in pieces these nations. It says the horse and his rider, that's going into their military.